Your journal entries are not just words on a page, they are history. Let that sit for a moment. Breathe that in. Okay. They are proof of who you are becoming. Your journal entries, they are proof of who you are becoming even when you don't realize it, right? And so today or this evening, I am going to be talking to you about how your journal helps you to see God's hand in your story and how it gives you the courage to keep going. So I have my notes over here. So I'm gonna be looking back and forth. If you come on, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, whenever you are joining. I hope all is well with you. Um, if you happen to join me live, definitely let's utilize the chat. I would love to see your comments and just your thoughts as we're going throughout this live. And if you are not live with me, but you come and catch the replay, definitely still leave me a comment if something resonates with you as I am talking throughout our time today. So we're gonna go ahead and jump in. Let me tell you who this live is for. This is for my ambitious women, my leaders, my entrepreneurs, creatives, people that love hard, right? You love hard, you're always there for others, you're always the one that they say you're the strong one, you're the dependable one, the one that people can count on, right? You wear many hats. You are leading your teams, you are leading I was gonna say family. Well, technically your husband is leading, but you lead your family, you help out with your family, your mom, wife, sister, the big sis, and you have a lot going on, right? And so I just wanted to share this with you today. If you are new, my name is Lakeisha Myrick, and I go by Coach Keish. And I am a certified life coach. I am a writer, I am a strategist, and I help ambitious women to slow down so that they can reconnect with themselves and hear God clearly so that they can begin to really live the life that they want, right? And just living a life that is peaceful, that is purposeful, um, and is in alignment with God. And so, again, if something I say here today, whenever you're watching this, if something that I say resonates with you, it speaks to you, I definitely would love for you to comment below. Let me know what your takeaway was. Let me know, like, if I say something and it stands out to you. Um, because I want to know what is, sticking out, what's resonating so that I can continue to create more content and help bring awareness to just journaling. Because, like today, we're talking about journaling, and just all the things that encompass slowing down, healing, and creating peace within yourself, right? And the last thing is sharing is caring. I know we've heard that before, right? Sharing is caring. If someone you care about comes to mind as I am sharing today, then this is what I want you to do. I want you to hit the share button, hit that arrow, and I want you to share this video with them and just say, hey, as she was talking, I was thinking about you. Just wanted to share it with you. You just never know who needs a word of encouragement, who needs a message. And so, I ask you to share this message out if it blesses you. So it is a blessing to be a blessing. All right. So today, like I said, I want to talk about how your journal helps you to see how the Lord has been with you and how it gives you courage to keep going. I shared something recently on my email list about how your journal entries are more than just words on a page. They are history. And so this kind of is where this live stemmed from. And today I just want to share just two things that came to me as I was, writing the email out, even after the email went out, and just kind of reflecting on how our journal entries are more than just words on a page. Okay, so I'm gonna take a little sip of water real quick. So before we jump into my first point, um, I have been journaling for a while now, right? I can't even tell you like the first time I started journaling, but I have been journaling for a minute. I have oodles and oodles of journals. I have many journals. And I guess there is just one particular season as I was preparing myself for this live and to talk about this subject. There is one particular season that stood out to me the most. And that was when one of my best friends passed away unexpectedly. And I remember feeling so lost, so hurt. And I feel like the world just stopped. It was like everything was going on, but I was still like, wait, I'm still in this moment. I'm still here. Um, I can still remember going in that little room and they came in there and they shared the news um that you know she had went on, she passed. And I can remember sitting on the floor. I literally got out of, I think I was either standing up or sitting down. Either way, at some point I got on the floor and I was on my knees and I was just like, you ever watch a movie or a show and there is this moment where they show like all the thoughts like swirling around your head, and it's like everything is just happening. That's how I felt um in that moment. And it was like I was replaying the the scene of events that happened throughout the day. And yeah, I was hurt, I was angry, I was very sad, I was very confused because I'm like, Lord, now why you go and do that for? um and so in that time I really just didn't know what to do with those emotions that I was feeling. And so what I did know, because I was journaling prior to that, but not as consistently, right? And so what I did know to do was to write, was to journal. And so that's what I did. I sat with my journal. I sat with my journal and I cried and I wrote. I would write something and I would cry. And then I would cry and I would write. And it was just me just pouring out my feelings and telling God, just how I felt like, you know, I'm mad. I'm sad. I hate this. This is wrong. Like just bearing it all out and putting my heart within the pages. But after a while, I started to notice how I was feeling, right? I started to notice kind of what was happening from one point to the next. Um, I didn't realize it at the time, but what was happening was my journaling was creating a space for me to process my emotions, or process my grief with God, instead of trying to hold it all in and me carry it myself, trying to carry it myself. And so I started to learn a lot about myself. I started to learn, um, just honestly, in that time, I think I learned the most how much God loved me more than anything. Because even in that time, when I was so upset, it was like I could just imagine him just like let me have my moment, and then coming back and just, like laying his hand on me gently, like it's okay, like rubbing my back and saying, you're gonna be all right. I'm just gonna let you do your thing. And I think about how, as parents, I'm not a parent yet, I'm not a mom yet, but just even with my nephew, it's just like you look when they get upset, when they hurt themselves, when something happens. Sometimes we just let them just do what they do, and we be like, all right, we're gonna let you have your moment, we're gonna let you have your time. And then we come back and we talk in that, or at least I do, so that soft voice, and we're just like, okay, so what's going on? Are you okay now? You got everything out? Talk to me. And so that's kind of what I have imagined, like over time, what was really happening. And honestly, I think that that time, that season was also a point where I realized God can handle me. I'm his daughter. He made me. He can handle this frustration, this hurt, this anger. He can handle all of this, because he already knew how I was feeling anyway. And what what really came out of that, I believe, was at the core of it, I felt a lot of guilt and blame. Um, and that was kind of the thing that was hiding, underneath the grief. And over time, um, that's what started happening. That what started happening was I was releasing myself from the guilt and the shame that, um that was hiding up under that grief. This this time in my life, or that time in my life, um it really brought about an appreciation, like towards the end of that journey. It really brought about an appreciation for my friendship that I had, with my best friend, right? And instead of being trapped in the pain, being trapped in my emotions that hurt, it was just a lot of gratefulness. Um, I could see, I could see the hand of God. I could see God loving me through that relationship. But that was only after I dealt with those emotions. So, not only that, the other thing that I realized throughout that journey was God gave me a framework for journaling. And it's something that I still use today. It is what my very first published journal, or the method, it is the method that is in my very first published journal. And so it is just really powerful to think about how your journal entries are not just words on a page, but they are history. And that's why I'm saying that. Um and I share that story because that I learned, one of the things that I learned was, um we say sometimes like time will heal all wounds. That's like a familiar saying. And the time is going to go past, or it's going to go by, but are we being intentional with that time? And so for me, it wasn't just about the time, the time going past, but it was about um intentional action, intentionality, and bringing my emotions, bringing those thoughts to God in prayer, in my journal, um, and just writing those things out. And so there is something that I like to say, and that is, you can't heal what you won't reveal. So you have to marry that time with that intentional action, right? You have to marry the time and the intentional action to create the healing. And that intentional action for me, again, was journaling. So, yes, the time was passing, life was going on, but, I had to intentionally address what I was feeling. Um, because if I had just suppressed the emotions, then I never would have gotten to the root of what was really happening. So maybe your situation is not the loss of a loved one, right? But I challenge you to think about the moments in your life where there are things that have caused you grief or sadness. It could be the loss of a friendship, losing a job, losing a business, or just having a season where things are not going the way that you hope for, the way that you have planned. And we oftentimes have to ask ourselves, have we dealt with the emotions? Have we been honest about what we've been carrying? Um, or have we just been pushing through? Have we just been holding the things in? And then if we haven't processed it, we have to um, be kind to ourselves and say, why not? Why have you not sat with this? Okay. So um I know that was a lot to take in. We're about 19 minutes in right now. So let's just take a deep breath. Yeah. Because sometimes we have to ask ourselves, why have I not sat with this thing? What am I ignoring? Um Sometimes we move through life so quickly and we don't give ourselves permission to pause. Um, and so that's why I created the healing room. If you have been, you know the healing room. It is a peaceful 90 minutes in-person journaling and reflection session where we take the time to release what's heavy, we process what God is doing, and it's an opportunity to just be in community while doing that so that you can feel lighter, feel refreshed. And get renewed, right? Get poured into. And so if you're not already on my email list, I share when the healing room is open, I share journaling prompts and things of that nature. And I just want to invite you to go check out the link in my description so that you can join us over in the purpose community. And so if you are um not in a space where you can attend the in-person healing room right now, um I do want to go ahead and give a few things, a few points, share a few points of why your journal entries or how your journal entries help you see um, God's hand in your life and how journaling can help you in your journey. So, let's get into it. Let's get into it. So is the first thing I want to share is journaling creates awareness. I'm looking for some. I am a balloon. Second. Oh, oh, it's a little warm, y'all. So whew, it's starting to heat up outside. I'm in South Carolina and it was so warm today. And I had my fan on. This is a little side note. I had my fan on, but it was loud, and I was like, I don't want it to be distracting uh, me or y'all when you're listening to this. Okay, so let me focus. Point number one is journaling creates awareness. Journaling creates awareness. Awareness is the first step to change. So when something is written down, you can see it differently. When something is written down, you can see it differently. So when you're talking about seeing things differently, we're talking about patterns, cycles, like what things keep happening over and over again. What like what am I able to pull out from my journaling experience where I recognize this as a pattern, right? It can help you to see your fears. What are you afraid of? What is really behind, like I said earlier, the emotion, right? Because it wasn't just that I was sad or angry or hurt or whatever, but, and I know that there are, like stages of grief, but, there was still something on the other side of that emotion that I was feeling. So, you got to ask yourself, like when you're looking at your journaling, when you're slowing down, you're saying, okay, what's behind it? And sometimes it's a fear of failing, a fear of missing out, a fear of being rejected, a fear that is hiding behind um, hiding behind those emotions or just hiding behind whatever it is that you are talking to God about in your journaling, right? The Bible tells us in Romans 12, 12, 12, 12, 12, 2. I'm looking right in my notes talking about 12, 12. 12, 2. Be transformed By what? The renewing of your mind. And so when God wants to show us something, right? It's good in this instance of having something written down where you're able to see maybe where you have a particular belief or thought idea that needs to be renewed, the new thinking that you need to take on as a believer, as a son, as a child of God, because oftentimes we have to challenge um, we have to challenge our thinking according to what the Lord is saying, right? We have to challenge those lies. And so there's often something that you need to renew, um and you can see that, a thought that you need to renew. And so you can see that after you have journaled through it, and God may be trying to reveal something to you through that pattern, through that cycle, something that you believe, and he wants to renew your mind about it, right? So one of the things that we do in the healing room, and I want to share what one of the participants actually shared in her testimonial. Her name is Marnie. She joined us at the last one. She talked to me, and it was really powerful. She talked about how, as she was writing, as we were going through the prompts, she began to really realize how maybe like um layered what the Lord was revealing to her, how layered it was. And she talked about how she appreciated the repetition, the continuing to say the prompt, to say the scripture, because she started to notice those deeper things starting to come up in her writing. And so that repetition gave her a chance to actually process it. It gave her time to think through it. And, it was just really good to hear how it was happening in real time, and how she could just really deal with what was coming up, and not uh pushing past it or just rushing through the moment. And so that's one of the things that journaling does, right? It brings awareness as you slow down and you take the time to really sit in the moment. So you have to imagine just giving yourself that time, um, sitting and pausing so that you can recognize what God is trying to show you, what God is trying to share with you. Okay. So, yeah. So I know that I shared this in my email list too, that you may be thinking, well, I don't have time to journal. I'm too busy. I have too many things on my plate. I have this, I have that. And I get it. There are lots of things that you have to take care of, and life is always moving, right? But I want to remind you that it's okay to slow down. It's okay to slow down. It's okay to stop for a moment, stop for a second, um, and take some time to yourself, right? Rest is also productive. um when we're used to producing, getting things done, handling things, taking care of things, stopping can seem like it's not productive, but it is productive. And something that I wrote down that came to me as I was preparing, I said, I, be- I said, Holy Spirit said, I believe Holy Spirit gave this to me. Reflection, reflection is not wasted time, it's whispering time. Reflection is not wasted time, it's whispering time. And what is whispering time? Whispering time is a time where you are getting an opportunity to lean in to his still small voice so that you can be reminded of who he is, who you are, and where you are going. Reflection time is not wasted time. It is whispering time. So, if you happen to journal, if you are a journaler, let me know in the comments if some of you are already journaling, right? Let me know in the comments if some of you are already journaling. I know that we have many of you who do a lot. Like I said, you carry a lot. So you have your work duties, your family duties, your life duties. Everything is going on. You're the one that everyone depends on. You're the one that everyone goes to. But the thing is, all of that means very little if, you, at the end of the day, you are the one left holding the bag and feeling empty inside. You're left holding the bag and feeling empty inside. You're holding everything for everybody, and you feel empty inside, and you feel like there is nobody holding any bags for you. And so you have to take the time to sit and process um, why you feel that way. Um, because sometimes we can keep moving, we can keep showing up, we can keep smiling, and the whole time we fronting, we really sad on the inside, because we're carrying so much, and you don't have to do that. You don't have to do that. So listen, if this is helping, definitely let me know in the comments. Um, I just have one other thing that I want to share before I hop off. And we talked about journaling, creating awareness, but something else begins to happen, right? And that thing is you begin to recognize how God has actually been moving in your life. And that recognition builds courage for what comes next. It builds courage for what comes next. Um, so here's the thing. When you look back at your pages, you realize you have survived. You have survived. You have survived. You have survived. And ooh, if that ain't a confidence builder, I don't know, because sometimes I will look back in my journal and I'll be like, Lord, I was really struggling with this. But thanks be unto God. Thanks be unto God. Ooh, I'm about to go to church right there on that moment. But listen, when you reread your entries, we often get to see the things that we missed, the things that we didn't initially see when we were writing it in the moment. And so those things are the prayers that were answered, lessons, lessons, the wisdom that you have gained. Okay, the wisdom that you gain. And then last but not least, the strength that you didn't realize that you had, right? You, like I said, you thought you weren't gonna overcome it, and you did. By the grace of God, through the help of God, He pulled you through, He helped you. And so a lot of times we don't recognize that in the moment when we are actually journaling, when we are actually in the season. And so you have to write it down so you'll see, excuse me, so you can see how God was with you before. And when things come up, when challenges arise, it gives you a boost that you can face what is ahead, right? You can face what is in front of you. And um one of the things one of the things I've heard, and I've said this a few times, I've got history with God. I've got history with God. I've got history with God. I've got history with God because I can go back to a point in time where I thought I was not gonna make it. I thought I was not gonna get out. I thought I was gonna feel like this forever. I thought it was gonna be like this forever. And I can say, you know what? I am not in that place anymore. God really helped me through that. And that is just a beautiful place to be. And that history will reduce the pressure. It will reduce the pressure that we sometimes feel from the fear of failing, the fear of unknown, the fear of starting something new. Now, I didn't say completely because sometimes, we gonna feel the fear a little bit in a way that is, um I guess can I say like healthy? Like, I think it's a good thing in a sense to be a little scared about certain doing something, right? Especially when your heart is in it, when you're passionate about something, and you're just like a little nervous about what's gonna happen. Are you, gonna is it gonna be successful? Are you gonna do good or whatever? Like, I I believe it's good to have like a little bit of fear there, but um we know that the Bible tells us about the spirit of fear, and He did not give us the spirit of fear. And I think that is more so talking about a debilitating fear, and where you are not moving at all, and you're so paralyzed by fear that you won't do anything, right? That it keeps you stuck in this place of not trying, and not taking um, risk or um, just not moving in faith on what the Lord has spoken to you. And I think that's a different type of fear. And honestly, I have dealt with that before, the spirit of fear. And that is a different type of feeling, right? There is a different type of feeling. And maybe I think I'm gonna write that down to do maybe like another little short YouTube video. Um I'm ask the Lord to help me with that. Like the difference between just having like a healthy fear for something and then the spirit of fear. Because what I could tell you is that there was a different, like, even fear that I could feel like within my body. Right. And so I think that's a little different. And so I'm getting off track. I'm gonna pull it back in. So again, the history that we have with God, it can reduce the pressure that we sometimes feel from fear. Right. And so that's why I'm saying it's important to write out your thoughts, write out your reflections, and be able to, and having them so you can be able to go back to them to track, to track and not judge. Because that's where your confidence will grow. It's because, like, man, God was really with me in that. So he has my back. Our pastor says all the time, God got us. God got us. And so it's good when we can just go back and look and see we actually have the proof written written down. We got it written down. We got it written with a date, and we can say, I've got history with God, and know that we can move forward in confidence. So, um, going back to the story that I shared earlier for just a moment, when I was journaling through that grief of losing my friend, I talked about, you know, feeling like, I was writing just to write. Um, but afterwards, seeing how it was much deeper than that, I was learning how to regulate my emotions. I was learning how to process what I was feeling without, or instead of suppressing it. And again, I began to recognize it as a method, something that I could keep using over and over again, not just to process grief, but to process other things that, difficult things that may come up in my life. I can still use that method. And so, lastly, I keep saying this over and over again. When I look back at those pages, I am reminded of how God walked with me through that season. And if you walk with me through that season, I trust that He will walk with me through the next one too. It may not look exactly the same, but I believe it's just another part of the story for His glory. Amen. It'll be another part of the story for His glory. Okay. So listen, I'm about to wrap up. I just got a few more things that I want to share, and that's it. Um, the thing is, you have to begin, right? You have to begin. You have to get a journal. You have to buy one or use one that you already have. Many of you have many empty journals. You have many empty journals. And I'm not trying to be mean. Because I understand. I really do. I understand the how how it can be hard sometimes to sit down, make yourself sit down, to make yourself sit down, to make yourself sit down. and actually sit with yourself. It's not always a comfortable thing to do. It can be very uncomfortable. So I understand. Um, but the thing is, it's about just putting it into practice and figuring out what consistency looks like for you. Um, I I am a writer at heart, so it may be easier for me to write more frequently than it is for someone, um, or for you to write as much as I write, right? For you, journaling every day is probably, it may be too much for you. So you have to put into practice maybe doing a weekly, um, putting into practice a weekly, what's the word I'm looking for? Rhythm or routine of journaling, right? Maybe it's every other week, like maybe it's twice a month. The thing is, you have to put it into practice. You got to start by being honest with where you are and realize that trying to keep a lot of things, a lot of thoughts, um, in your mind can become overwhelming, right? And what happens is we'll sometimes forget those those highlight moments. We'll forget those just those moments where we saw God. I like to call them God winks. It's good to have those written down. That moment when you were having a bad day and your best friend called you, or you saw a stranger while you were out and they smiled at you and they said, "Hey, I just want to let you know everything's going to be all right." Or like just something random happens, but it's not random. It's really a God wink. And we can forget those moments sometimes as life is going on. And so that's why I am encouraging you to write them down so that you can go back to get the courage you need to go forward, right? If you keep thinking it's not a big deal, if it's not a big deal to you to write it down, then sometimes when it'll be time for you to start the new thing, do the new thing, say say the thing, have the conversation, um you may let fear talk you out of it because have the reference point you don't have the reference point. And so what does that mean for the person who needs what you have in the form of your wisdom? What does that mean for, just your kids, your future kids, if you don't have children yet, or you do have children, and as they get older and they begin to become an adult, what does that mean for them when, you know, you don't have anything that not saying that you won't have anything, but maybe there is something significant that will speak directly to a situation that they may be experiencing, and you don't have it written down. It's not anything that is tangible that you can actually pick up. And I don't know, maybe you could even read it to them, show it to them, and say, "Hey, like, I understand what you're going through, but you're going to get through it," right? What does it mean for for you during a future season when you need to remind yourself to keep going? What does it mean for you? So, your journal entries, they are generational wealth. And something you have to ask yourself is, what might God be writing through my life right now that someone else will need one day? Somebody else may need it. 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 If you have enjoyed this conversation, this teaching, me just sharing how your journal entries are, more than you think, that they are history. It's history. It's history, right? It is. It's proof. It's proof. Um, so I want to invite you to join us in the Purpose community. The Purpose community is my email community for ambitious women who know that they were made on purpose for purpose. It's where I help women who carry a lot slow down, reconnect with themselves, and hear God clearly so they can live with peace, clarity, and purpose. Inside my emails, I share encouragement, more reflections like this. Like I said, this live is stemming from an email that I sent out to my community. I think what last week, and so I just did a little bit more on it. And so of course, I can't cover like everything. And I mentioned some other things within the email. But again, I just share things like this. I share journaling prompts and updates about gatherings, like my in person live journaling experience called the Healing Room. And so, if you're a woman who knows there's more for your life, but sometimes you feel overwhelmed, unsure, or pulled in too many directions. I invite I don't even know what that was. I invite you to join us over in the Purpose community. There is space for you there. The link will be in the description of this video, so you can go ahead and click this after, or yeah, after you watch this video, and you can come join us over there in my email community. Would love to have you and see you over there. Just a reminder as I wrap this up, close this time together, is just remember your journal entries are proof of who you were becoming, even when you didn't realize it. Even when you didn't realize it. I enjoy sharing this with y'all this evening. If you enjoy this video, this live, um, definitely hit the like button and make sure you subscribe to the channel for more content like this. I will be back next week um, with another video. I am going to be talking about, I think the next video is going to be talking about just like how to journal in general, or me just sharing how I journal. We'll see. We'll see. If you have a topic this month of March, I'm going to be focusing a lot on journaling and reflection. And so if you have any questions around that topic, feel free to drop them in the comments. But that's all for today. And I will talk to y'all soon. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you. Bye.